Talk about young shakes. Chicago 2 represent. Just change. And this for my city.
Hey, I do it for my city. Dog, I don't plan on going down. If he think I'm going down, then he gon' first round for my city. Dog, I ain't never been.
Hello, this is Lacy Rice with Rice Fame Group. And this is the third episode of Chat with HBCU Champions. And today we have head coach Frank Hyland from Benedict College, who won the SIAC Men's Cross Country Championship this fall. How you doing today, Coach?
Go Tigers. How you doing?
All right. I'm doing fine. We're glad to have you here, and congratulations on your championship this year.
Glad to be here. I appreciate that, sir.
And so, first question for you is, can you tell us, how much can you tell us about yourself? I can go ahead and brag.
Well, I don't have too much to say about myself. I think I guess my past has spoken well for me. I've been blessed to be involved with track and field and cross country for numerous of years. I've been coaching as a head coach since 1993, and I've been here at Benedict for 16 years. And being at Benedict has really helped me to grow as a person. It was able to get some knowledge, some tutoring under some very good coaches. Coach Fry, Coach George Williams, some other ones that were really good friends of mine, and some very good colleagues. So I was able to get a chance to be around some very positive and solid people. So a lot of the success came from just pulling a little bit from everyone and trying to mix together my own recipe of success, and I think it's worked out thus far. I started a little slow here at Benedict, but when I came from Voorhees College, where I came up before, I was there for 9 years. I won 24 conference championships, combined with cross country and track. But that was NAIA, so it was a little easier. So when I moved to Division II, it was a lot tougher. So it took me a little while to get started, having to deal with the powerhouses like Morehouse College and Albany State. Back then they were really, really strong, and they're still strong now. Just that, a lot of schools have been through some financial issues. So you know how it is. We lose scholarships and stuff like that, and you don't get the top-notch athletes that you used to get. But those guys, they kind of helped me to, elevate my game a little bit, and really proud to be in this conference.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, wow, you mentioned coming over from the NAIA
Mm-hmm.
to the SIAC, and the competition being a bit, I guess, a bit more competition for you.
Yes, correct.
I understand. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Before we get into too many other things, can you give some insight on the difference, like in recruiting, for the NAIA versus NCAA Division II HBCU at that?
Okay. Well, the first thing, of course, is always the budget. I do have more scholarship money here allotted based on what I had at NAIA. And of course, NAIA is a little different. It's easier to get certain athletes because the qualifications are a little different when it comes to class rank and stuff like that. So you can get more kids in based on eligibility, whereas a little tougher on this level to get the kids to get in and make sure they're academically sound, of course. So a lot of the kids I recruit now are more academic focused and based, and then talent. And so that's how I kind of bring my kids in. So we always have some of the highest GPAs, and I believe in having a diverse team. So I try to recruit. If I want to get my best distant runners, most of them come from where? Africa, South Africa, North Africa, Ethiopia, Kenya. So I try to diversify my team. And if I want somebody fast, most people come from Jamaica, the Caribbean, that's where a lot of the slave ships went. So I try to bring a lot of those kids from down there. And I mix it up a little bit when it comes to South Carolina, Georgia, Florida, when I recruit my jumpers and hurlers and sprinters. So that's what kind of helps me. So the diversity of team that I have is kind of what's given us our success.
Okay. Wow. Um, so can you go in more detail with your team, more specifically your men's cross country team that won the championship this year? Can you tell us more about them?
Okay, good. Well, very not as talented as I had the year before in prior years, but probably the hardest working cross country team I've ever coached. I've had about two like this, and they are one of the two. The team that won in 15 or in 16, I think it was not as talented, but fun to work with. This group, I brought in a freshman. Actually, his uncle ran for me from Kenya, Nelson Kimboy. He's a freak of nature and still have so much upside to him. Young guy, I think came in, he was 18. So he's going to be very talented down the road. God willing, if he stays healthy and everything falls in place. My number two guy, his brother, actually is a twin. He was supposed to come in with his brother, but it didn't work out. He didn't have the academics that he had in the beginning, so he's able to get through later on. Titus Career, he's very talented as well. And both of these guys, it was good to see them train together because they're pretty much around the same times. They both could probably run 14 mid in the 5K. Um, their 8Ks were both around 25 minutes, 26, low based on the course. So those are my top two guys what really kept me in the game. It was hard to beat me with those two guys. And then I had a young man that came in 2 years ago who is from Japan, um, Takahashi. He really came a long way. Freshman year was not even top nine, and now he's my number three runner. He went from 28 minutes to 26. So I mean, sorry, 29 to 26. So he's really improved. Did the mileage he was supposed to do over the summer. So I'm really pleased with him. Brought in a guy a while back who was a 400, 800 guy named Shamar Hilton. He was the backbone of the team. He was the bread and butter. He was the glue that brought it together. If they slacked off, he handled it. I didn't have to worry about that. And he was a senior, so he wanted to go out with a bang. He knew the team wasn't as strong, but mentally, they were tough. So it was going to be hard to beat them. So he kind of kept the goal, helped the new guys, and made sure that the old guys didn't poison them mentally. You know how that is, because sometimes you get a little lazy and don't put the mileage in. But that was the key for us. The mileage is the key. The mileage is success. We had Thomas Hillman, who was also an outstanding distant runner, came from New Mexico. Young guy, he came from an amazing program that has a winning tradition. He was not one of the best runners from there, but he definitely had the work ethics. So he definitely fell in place. Jafet was one of our elders, also a hard worker. Wasn't as talented as some of the other guys, but again, he knew his role. His role was to make sure he held up the top seven, and that's what he did. We had another young man, Devontae Newbold, another hard worker, really a 4'8" guy from the Bahamas. Solid kid, hated cross country, but he knew his job, and he had to make sure he finished. I'm thinking if I forgot anyone else. I think I got every. Oh, Dennis and Amos. We had Dennis Kiprona, who also graduated this past December. Amazing athlete, came in 3-4 years ago and dominated. So he was also in my top four, but injuries kind of hindered him a lot this year. And so much so did Amos, Chip B, and he's an amazing athlete as well. But again, minor injuries hindered those guys. They do so much mileage, so much road running, kind of shut them down a little bit. But we had so much strength and so much luggage in the back. Those guys held up everything. So the team was a solid team, and I was really excited to see them run. And when we finally got everybody rolling together, we did well.
Okay. So you mentioned Morehouse at Albany State.
Mm-hmm.
Can you tell us more about the SIAC?
Oh wow! Well, I just mentioned those two now, but I'm gonna tell you now, the teams are so much stronger now and getting stronger. The coaches are amazing, and that's what worries me every year. how what the coach is going to pull up. I have a big target on my back at times, but I love the challenge. But we have new coaches in our conference now at Central State. Um, Brought in a new coach over there. Their names are slipping me now. We have a new coach at Kentucky State, Coach McVee at Spring Hills, who was became the dominant force on the women's side in cross country and pretty much dominate on the distance side. We have Coach Page at Clark Atlanta. Um, I mean, we Fort Valley's always been solid. Coach Rhodes is over there, who came from JUCO national championship teams, ranking teams in Division Two. I mean, Division in junior college. So we have a lot of heavy hitters now that's going to probably take our sport to the next level in track and field and cross country. So the conference has gotten stronger. We just brought back in Savannah State. They just came back in with Coach Whitaker coming in, and he's going to turn some heads in track as well. I'm trying not to forget anyone. And Lane hired a new coach as well, so they're going to have some heavy hitters. So it's going to be a challenging championships, and I think we're going to have, just like before, a lot of national qualifiers heading to and NCAA's pretty soon.
Okay. So let's transition to that then.
Okay.
How did you do NCAA wise?
Now this past year, we didn't have any national qualifiers. We qualified for the regionals, which is a at large, not at large, all comers meet, pretty much the regional championship. We didn't do as well as we did the year before. The year before, we did have two All Americans in men and women. Matthew Chesney and Stella, and they both were All Americans in cross country. But I think next year we should be a little better. I think we have a chance to get at least one or two individual champions going to the national championship, NCAA.
Okay.
Yeah.
You mentioned one of your runners' last name's Career, which is that's a huge name in distance here in the United States. In fact, I'm familiar with one of them, Wesley Career, who was an All-American at University of Louisville and won the Boston Marathon.
Yep.
1 year. Are the brothers related to him?
I think they're all related, but I'm not sure if I know they're from the same tribe, but I don't know if they're actually related per se.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So, can you tell us about not to give all your secrets out?
Okay.
But you mentioned the diversity of your team.
Mm-hmm.
Can you tell us some of your methods? I'll say methods, not secrets. Some of your recruiting methods to encourage such a wide range. I mean, you even mentioned an athlete from Japan,
mm-hmm.
which that is very rare. I think in track and field in the United States.
Correct.
And cross country, of course.
Well, the unique thing for me is when the athletes are here, and this is where it starts. If you take care of them, they take care of you. Mm-hmm. And so a lot of my recruits come from word of mouth. Okay, because clearly I don't have the budget to travel all over the country, all over the world. Never been to Kenya, never been to Japan. I've been to Jamaica, I've been to most of the Caribbean islands, so I got connections there. But when I take care of the ones that come here, they take care of me. So they connect me to the cousins, the brothers, the nieces, the nephews, and from there on, it starts a tradition. And so that's what helps me. And they know exactly what I'm looking for. They know that person has to be good character, hard worker. That person has to have, to want to be better. And they don't have to be great. I know I'm not going to get the blue chippers, the kids that's running 12 something in the 5K, because that's rare for me. I'm not going to get an athlete like that. But if you come in running 16, I can work with you if you come to work hard. So that's the kind of secret, I guess, remedy that I have that helps my program to flourish. They look out for me. They know what kind of athletes to send to me or what kind of athletes that I'm looking for. So when I recruit, like a guy reached out to me the other day, and he told me, well, two young ladies are very good, talented, and they run very fast. But then he says one has a 2.1 and one has a 2.0. And no hard feelings, but they're not going to make it here academically. So there's no need for me to even hurt them. Then another person reached out and said, well, this person wants to do nursing, this person wants to do mechanical engineering. I won't bring a kid in if we don't have that major. If we don't have nursing, I'm not going to waste your time because eventually you're going to leave. So I look at their overall education too. That's the focus that I have. I want to make sure, first of all, that we have your major and that we've set you up in the right pattern to get out and get your master's or start your life. And so that's the main focus for me.
Okay, so you actually build programs. You don't necessarily just go out and try to load up with a lot of JUCOs or transfers in order to build your program. You do a lot of building from the ground up.
Yeah, every once in a blue moon, I will get those JUCO transfers, but I'm not the one to go and get them. I don't really go out and recruit. That's all I want to do. Yes, you see one or two real good ones over there. You try to reach out to them, but I'm not. I prefer to get them fresh out of high school, fresh out of ready to go at younger age. I like to get small steps. I like to see progression. And yes, we all want the big top notch athletes, but sometimes they come with a lot of issues, a lot of luggage. And I prefer not to have that luggage. I want people that want to work, that want to earn it. And yeah, I want the real studs. I want the good ones. But again, I want people that want to earn it.
Okay. Um. Now, there are some questions that I asked another cross country coach earlier, so I'll ask you some of the same questions.
Okay.
One of the big issues that I noticed in athletics now versus previous years,
Mm-hmm.
and Simone Biles help the awareness
Mm-hmm.
aspect, mental health. How do you deal with that?
Well, you have to really look at things differently. Things have changed. A lot of these students now have so much access to this thing called a cell phone, and I call it fast food. And the reason why I say I call it fast food, they want everything now. They want to go to McDonald's and eat what they want it now, now, now. Where I prefer a steak dinner. I want to go and sit down and eat. Take your time with my steak. And that's what really causes a lot of problems. They have so much information thrown in their face, and any just by the touch of a button, a lot of them can't handle the load. Um, so what I try to do, I try to be understanding. I try to seek help. If we have people on campus that can help. Um, the good thing about me, I read people very well, and so I know how to maneuver, how to handle certain situations, and I really try my best to take every little thing seriously because they are not as, I want to say, tough as us. Because back in the day, your coach would go in your face and they would get in your face, cuss you out, slap you, cuss you and your mother out, and then tomorrow you'll be fine. You can't even raise your voice now without someone breaking down and saying that, emailing the president, I'm so depressed. He doesn't care about me. He doesn't, they don't know how to handle constructive criticism. And I know some people are real vicious and some people are real harsh, but um, you have to be understanding. You have to understand that you don't know what kind of background this person came from, and that's the kind of thing you have to find out. That's why when I recruit someone and when people send them to me, I already know their background. I already know if he was homeless or she was homeless or only the mother in the family, only the father in the family. I already know that they may not take heed to someone yelling at them because that's all they've had in their life. So I know now how not to approach it. So when I'm in recruiting, that's some of the stuff that I go through, without asking out in the open, you have any problems at home? I could tell based on the conversations what they've been through. And some of them are open from up front. So that helps me to help them. So dealing with that in a nutshell, you have to be very cautious of how you say things and how you do things now. Yeah,
Yeah,
and have the respect for the young people that they're going through a lot. Some of them going through way more than we've ever been through too. Social media is just another level.
and because I've talked to coaches and actually athletes from different
Hmm.
programs, and I was just shocked to that so many of them have attempted suicide.
Correct.
I know there's a program in which they've had well, I don't want to use the word successful, but they've had actual suicides 2 years in a row. Talking to some of those young people, I asked them, why did you feel this way? Why did you feel the need to do that? And it was always, well, I didn't know who to talk. I didn't have anybody to talk to. I didn't know who I could
Hmm.
go to talk to. And, now, like you said, back when I was younger, and I'm also a military veteran.
Oh, of course.
So I found outlets to, people to talk to vent to, so I can get over it. But like
Hmm.
you said, these younger people have so much more information and different things, and then you got cyberbullying and all this other nonsense that's happening.
Exactly.
It
They
is
take
hard to fathom what
they
they're
take a
going
lot of things to heart. You know,
through.
a post a post could mess them up so bad, and where you and I would ignore it and keep it moving, they take it to heart, and then becomes a back and forth thing, and then it gets other people involved, and now you got, like you said, so many things coming at them.
Hmm.
Yeah.
So does your does the athletic program have counselors, or are the counselors more at the institution level?
Right now, we are more so at the institution level. But as a coach, we wear plenty of hats, and you would have those that feel secure to come and say something, and then you have those that don't. So you, as a coach, we have to pinpoint and find out who we could find to attach or to what they call link or sync to that athlete. And so that's what I'm good at doing. I may not be able to do it because they may not trust me. Or I don't want to coach my business. I don't want to coach that. I don't want to coach none of my stuff. And so, you know, I find people on campus that will. I know that this particular athlete may go to see every single day. Can you help me with such and such? And that may be the person they trust because for some reason they may mimic someone that they have in their life at home that they feel, you know, comfortable with, and if they feel trustworthy. So that's why I help them with. So I try to find someone for everyone, and sometimes it might be an athlete, a senior or junior that's assisting a freshman. Based on, okay, I've been through this. Coach, can I talk to her? That's how it works. It's a thing that we try to bring them together because in the beginning, because of all these kids from different places, everyone has their own cliques because of the way they were raised, their different cultures. So I might say something and I might think it's funny. Hey man, your feet ashy or something. A person from Africa might take that very personal. Why are you talking about me like that? I don't like how you talk about me like that. That's why I grew up. I didn't have shoes. You never know what it could be. So we have our little meetings every once in a while. We discuss these things because we want to know. We want to let each other know some things are not meant to be said, especially at a certain in a joking manner, because you don't know how sensitive that person may be based on what they went through in life. So those things help us. So the diversity really helps us because some of these kids are leaving here lifelong friends with people that from somewhere on the other side of the world, and it's just amazing. So that's how I kind of use it. So we have a lot of mentoring going on the team, but most of it comes from the administration itself.
Okay. So and it's interesting that you mentioned that, and that you even brought up the aspect of not knowing where a person's from or what their background is, and being careful about what you say,
Mm-hmm.
uh, because actually, um, I'm an adopted Botswanan. Uh,
Mm.
from
Wow.
from visiting over there, and one of the places where I did some work was at an orphanage.
Wow.
That particular orphanage they were all boys, and so we were tasked with showing them, introducing them to new games and sports and things like that. And so they had a volleyball net and everything, but
Okay.
their concept of volleyball was
It's
our
totally different.
concept. So we had to show them the rules and everything. And I think the one thing that did strike me, and you just mentioned it, most of those boys didn't have shoes. And that country at the orphanage, was mostly dirt. That was the first place I've ever seen cotton growing wild.
Wild. I'm telling you. Yes.
And so one of the games, of course, their favorite game, of course, is going to be soccer.
Of course.
But a game that we introduced them to was kickball.
Mm.
And to see these guys go out there kicking a ball with their bare feet,
Easy, like it was nothing.
right? And so, um, do you have, since you do have such a diverse team, and from what you mentioned to us, you probably have one of the most diverse teams I've ever heard of. Even
Wow.
for like a Division 1 program.
Mm.
Um, do you do certain programming, certain cultural awareness programming, or anything like that, so that they get to know about these different cultures that's embedded in your team?
Well, I don't, but some of our activities, what I do is I never really let them stay together all the time. That because you get the Kenyans that hang, all they want to hang together. That's all they're going to do. The girls and the guys stay together. The Jamaicans stay together. The other, like Barbados, Trinidad, they stay together. And then of course the kids from Florida, that they stay together. Georgia. So everything we try to do it, but they break them up, and I put them in different groups so they got to get to know each other. And like actually, we're gonna have something coming up pretty soon. That we're gonna do. Uh, it's gonna be different for them because we're gonna have fun. We're trying to bring some kids on campus, for some recruits on campus, but we're gonna have a field day, and we're gonna break them up in groups, and they're gonna have to get to learn each other. Where they're from, you know the kind of stuff that we all need to know about somebody, different cultures, food that they like to eat. A lot of kids didn't know the Kenyans. Now they know, but they didn't know the Kenyans like to drink a lot of fresh milk, hot milk. That's what they call tea. And people didn't know that. They do it all the time. That's If they don't have that tea in the morning, they feel like their whole day's gonna be messed up. Um, so they think that milk, they tea, and they add a little something to it. And what we call tea is totally different from what they call tea. And so it's just different things that we do to try to bring them together. But that's the simple base. But I don't have anything structured. But that's a good idea because I'm thinking about that now.
Okay.
That's definitely a
Okay.
good idea.
All right. Yeah,
Yeah.
because I mean, and I guess I learned some of that by being in various environments,
Right.
and plus the fact with me personally, I don't like eating the same thing all the time. I
There you
like a
go.
lot of variety, and
Hmm.
so like even when I was coaching, especially my last year coaching, um, when we went out to eat, I made it a mission that we did not, do McDonald's and stuff like that. That's
Right.
that's that's what I did with other programs. Fast place for us to stop off and eat. I knew that my athletes needed to replenish carbohydrates and everything else. So,
Mm-hmm.
we would try different things. We might go to Fazoli's, or we might
Right.
go to KFC, or some other place where you have to sit down
Mm-hmm.
and you have to eat, and you have to kind of communicate with each other too. So
Right.
so it was a close team.
Mm-hmm.
But like I said, personally, me, if I go out of town, I'm not trying to eat at a restaurant that we have here where I live. I'm trying
Exactly.
to get something
Exactly.
new. So
The only tough thing about that is, of course, when you got big teams. So it kind of gets challenging when you got teams over 50 and 60, stuff like that. So,
mhm.
but we just try to prepare for it. But I do try to get them a different situation. Like this weekend, we're going to Virginia for a meet. We're going to that Virginia Beach Invitational and East Coast Invitational, and we're trying to sit down and figure out what we're gonna eat because it's so many of us, and we want to do something different because we do Fazoli's, we do Chick-fil-A, we do Texas Roadhouse, Ruby Two, we do all that. And like you, I used to love to do Golden Corral. They used to hate Golden Corral back in the day. My athletes hated it, but I loved it because it had more diversity. You can sit down, you eat, and you get out of there. Because when you have a big team, you don't have time to be waiting an hour just to get served, and then sorry, I'll just get wait on, and then I'll get served, and then you have another 20, 30 minutes to eat. So you're there for 3 hours almost with a team. Whereas Golden Corral, you in and out. You in and out in 1 hour. And so they hated me for that at times, but they enjoyed it. But now I think all those kids are scarred for life. They'll never get to Golden Corral again. Um, they thought I had timeshares with them, or some kind of stocks or bonds with them. But um, that really helps when of course, COVID changed some things. Not sitting down and being there, but that really to me is a key because I got that from Coach Hill at Morehouse. Morehouse, he loves Cracker Barrel. The kids probably would never eat a Cracker Barrel when they leave Morehouse. But the reason why he did it is for them to sit down and conversate and have a meal and order, so you get a chance to order your meal and have a decent conversation. And so the camaraderie is what he's looking at. And that's why he never did fast food. He does Olive Garden and he mixes it up a little bit, but he's gotten older and the kids have gotten different, so he had to change. But we all have to do that adjustment. Yeah.
Right. Okay. Um, well, to kind of switch up, can you tell us about? Can you give us more information about the academics there at Benedict?
Oh man, they're trying to change it now. A few things. We probably gave out more money than anybody else in academics. We the academia here is tough though, especially if you're in the sciences. But we had way more opportunity than a lot of schools in academic scholarships. 2.5 on up, you getting money. Now it wasn't a lot. 2.5 to I think it was 2 point to 3.0, I think 2.99. You getting about $2,000 to $3,000. I think from that from 3.0 on up to 3.3 or something like that is about $7,500. Then it goes up to about the 3.5 on up. I think it was 14,000. And then if you get the presidential, the trustee, or whatever the kind of scholarship it is, I think anywhere between 14,000 to 17,000, just in academic scholarships. And that you don't even have to have a test score. They just go based on GPA. So I had a lot of kids on those scholarships because a lot of the kids, like I said, I recruit a lot of athletes that are good academic students. So our academic programs are amazing, man. And then the instructors here are tough. We have a diverse group of instructors as well. They're from everywhere in the world. We do have a few adjunct professors from the University of South Carolina and different places, to cover most of our night courses. But we have a well diverse, team of faculty and staff that are amazing. The kids are challenged, especially in certain majors like the sciences, like I mentioned before, STEM, psychology, very challenging. And now we've improved our programs by incorporating two master's programs, one in business and one in sports management. So we're building that. Our sports management program is blowing up. They're really getting to the next level. We brought in some new instructors, very solid instructors, and I'm excited about how the next direction that we're going with academics.
Okay. Now, South Carolina is a state which is home to several HBCUs,
Correct.
as well as some, top-notch PWIs like South Carolina.
Hmm.
Um, how do you recruit against that?
I don't. I hate to say it like that. There are kids out there that know. Well, I don't say they know. Everyone thinks they're Division One, so a lot of them want to go Division One, big time Division One, and I will offer a full package, especially a kid from South Carolina. If you're from South Carolina, you come to us. You almost don't have to go to school if you did well academically. I mean, sorry, you almost don't have to pay for school. You would pretty much get a full scholarship here with the South Carolina tuition grant, with the Pell. And I think that's every state. Every state has their own special programs. But in South Carolina, we have the challenge of a kid saying, oh, "I'm just going to go to South Carolina and pay out of pocket because it's a better name, it's a big school, PWI, they got everything, and they'll take out loans to go there than to come here for free." So that's the challenge that I have. I have kids that really are Division Two. They'll never get a chance to run at South Carolina. They'll never get a chance to run at Clemson, but they'll go there and just be a part of their practice team, I guess, and just practice and then run the whole meets and be satisfied and pay for school. Then to come here and be a chance to go to the NCAA Division Two national championship, have a chance to win a conference championship and be a part of it. So it's hard recruiting against those schools, but I don't let it bother me. I pretty much will offer more than they will because I have to. I have to throw somebody that, okay, he runs 10-5. Hey, I can take everything for you. Where Carolina said, well, I'll give you 60% because SEC, you're not going to even get past the first round with 10-5. So, it's tough, but you got to kind of, that's just part of nature of the beast. That's anywhere you go. Any state you go is going to be the same thing. Yeah. You just got to know how to sell your program. And your program speaks for itself. So what the winning thing that I have with me is us winning championships, us being successful, and of course, showing them that people are graduating. That's the key for me. If you're not graduating, I don't need you to be here. Because a few of my athletes always ask me, Coach, how do you deal with it every year? People leaving and leaving and leaving, graduating. I said, that's my job. That's my purpose of being here. Getting you an opportunity to start your life. That's my give back. I don't have the money to give back like LeBron and all these big time players. My give back is giving you opportunity to set yourself up for down the road. Now, if you don't take advantage of opportunity, then I'm sorry, but I did my job to get you here, push you all the way through your 4 years, and hopefully not 5, and get you out of here to start your life and move on to the master's, PhD. If you don't want to do that, at least to start your job, and start your family.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, yeah, those challenges are real. I guess a lot of people don't really understand that. And I know one of my mentors, when I was at University of Louisville as a volunteer coach,
Mm-hmm.
told me a story of a coach who was upset with him because he didn't recruit the one of the coaches' girls.
Mm.
And the girl was a quarter mile, or she was a 400 runner. And coach told Coach Mann something to the effect that, well, she's won regions every year since her freshman year.
Mm-hmm.
And when Coach Mann asked what she ran a 61.
Mm-mm.
And Coach Mann was like, I'm recruiting girls that run 54 and below. So,
If you run 61 hurdles, that's different. But yeah.
and so I, one of the things that I did coming out of the collegiate end was to try to educate high school coaches
Correct.
so that they can educate their athletes as far as expectations, because the same thing happened. The first coaching job I got out of Louisville, leaving Louisville, was at a D3, a local D3. And I'm recruiting, first recruits I had, the first recruits were the top sprinters in the country, period. You know, I believe in going for the best. But then I started recruiting Kentucky kids, the ones who were left.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and, you know, you're talking about guys running 11, 11.1, and 100. And when I call them, I'm walking on a UK. It's like,
Exactly.
did you talk to the coach there?
You're not gonna be walking on. You be walking around walk around the track watching.
Right.
You're walking on.
Right. So that was my mission after that. You know, I need to tell these coaches the real so that they can tell their athletes, you know, hey, you
The
know,
truth.
if
The
you
truth.
right, if you want to run at the next level, you might not be able to run D1, but you can run other play. There are other places where you can run
Mm-hmm.
if you're serious about competing. But
Correct.
you know, I definitely feel you on that. That's every time I hear a story like that, it just cracks me up.
Yeah, man. I had so many of them, and then eventually they call you after the fact and try to coach out. You still have a spot for me, and yeah, you realize that things change. I mean, you're not gonna make that chat, that team. So
Right,
yeah, but everybody has a dream, so can't knock their dreams.
right. Um, so as far as like your academic ranking within your department,
Hmm.
how does track and field and cross country rank academically, as compared to the other programs there?
Well, you asked me at the right time. We're number one right now in women and number one in men. First time in history, no, not history, but first time in a long time because we always have a hard time beating tennis.
Mhm.
Tennis is always a top ranked team academically. I mean, they just destroy everybody. Um, but we really did well this past year. I guess COVID helped. The kids seem to learn better virtually, and that's pretty much what it boils down to. They can do their work on their pace. They could, once they go to the Zoom calls, they can do their work. So these kids were really good. They really stepped up. I think the men's team had the highest GPA we had in years. They had a 3.5, 3.4 as a team. On cross country, 3.6. Women's team was like a 3.7. And I think the men's track team was a 3.3 or 3.2. Because we had more numbers there. But so we did really good. I mean, I'm excited. I mean, we were ranked number one in women cross country and track, and I think number one in men's cross country, and I think number two in track. Yeah,
Wow.
yeah,
That those are amazing numbers.
yes, yes. As a team to have that, I mean, I had this past semester, I had 10 athletes with 4.0. 10, never happened like that before. 10 athletes
Wow.
with a 4.0. I think it was 6 women and 4 men, or 7 women and 3 men, one and two.
Wow.
Yeah,
That's great. And I love hearing that because I've always stressed that students who compete on the even on the high school level or even middle school, even you are a
hmm,
student first. You're an athlete
exactly,
second.
correct.
Because
And
they're
I tell them that all the time. I tell them all the time.
mhm,
We all your whole purpose of being here is to get your education. Your degree is first. Track and field is second. But and I tell them all the time as well. You're the only ones that get paid before you work. I wish I got paid before I got work. I wish I could just sign a contract and hey, you get your first check today.
mhm,
They sign a
mhm.
dotted line before they even step on the track, before they even you know set a block. Before they even put on a t-shirt, they already got paid. So now they gotta, we gotta hold them accountable.
Mhm. Well, now that's a great transition into my next question for you.
Good.
Uh, the NCAA's change on student athletes and the rights to their images and their right to promote themselves and to be compensated. How has that affected your program?
So far, it has not really affected me. Again, we're not a big PWI, and we're not a um, bigger HBCU. But I've had about one or two that showed some interest in doing it. We're still trying to figure out what's doable and what's not. We're still trying to figure out. I think everybody's still on thin ice trying to figure out how this thing really works. We found out through a mistake that one of our other teams made that we cannot assist them in any way with pictures and promotions and calling companies for them and all this. We can't do anything. Everything has to be done on their own. The only thing we could provide is, of course, when they do take pictures and stuff like that, they can go out and, you know, do their own thing and try to get promotions and sponsorships on their own. But we can't assist them in any way as coaches or athletic department. So it hasn't affected me yet because a lot of my kids are still scared about how to do it. Everybody bringing, I'm gonna make me some money, but you got to do something real big to kind of do that on this level. And so, until they get to that point, I think it'll be kind of okay for me right now until I get those big heavy hitters that really want to go chase, the dollar signs. So it hasn't really affected me that bad yet.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, well, in a transition from that, how has the rules about the transfer portal affected you?
Now that's gonna affect everybody. With that, of course, I lost my national champion last year. Got a young man that won the triple jump, and he because of that, people started reaching out. How hard it is. It's social media is something. So of course, you're not supposed to contact athletes, but you know how that goes. We all do it. And they did it some kind of form, and I guess he just wanted to venture out in a bigger situation. And so we don't do what a lot of Division I programs do, which they give the stipends and living in cost of living. So that's where he wanted to be. He was in a situation where he was a hardship when he was in high school and coming up, and he wants to be in a better situation. So he moved on. So that's how it hurt me. The better ones are transferring out, and they want to go to the bigger schools. And of course, the bigger schools didn't look at them at first, but now they're looking at them now. And so yeah, the transfer portal is not a good friend of mine. And I think a lot of coaches are starting to feel that way because they're gonna have so many athletes hopping around for different reasons. Now, some, yes, if we don't have your major, I understand, I respect that. Or if we cut your money, I respect that. But when you're just using the system to get around, that's where it becomes an issue. So, so I don't know. That's my take on the transfer portal.
Well, looking at that and looking at certain scenarios, especially for those who might not be familiar with it
Mm-hmm.
or who might have some type of idea of how they might try to use it. Realistically, about how many times can a student athlete transfer and compete once they transfer?
Right. For me, the past 3 years have been rough. I've lost some good athletes the past 3 years since this thing started, and they all had to sit out right away. I think the last two had to sit out, and out of the 6 or 7 that left the past 3 or 4 years, only about 3 of them have had some kind of success because of the adjustment. They didn't realize the adjustment was going to be a little different and more challenging and more stressful. And like you said earlier, we mentioned this, the culture changed from here to there. So the atmosphere is different, and that makes it tougher on them mentally. So of course, if they can't handle that kind of structure, they're used to a certain kind of structure, and things get a little tougher or even more depressing, and no one to support them, they tend to fold. We all do have our ways of, folding when something breaks us down. So those kids didn't do very well. And so they realized that it's not all about the program and the facilities and the bells and whistles. It's about the nurturing and someone being there for them. Yeah.
So, and speaking of like nurturing and culture, within your athletic department, how supportive are the other athletic programs, and do you get athletes from some of the other sports to compete for you, especially during the track season?
Well, no, we're too selfish. We don't mind, and I think this is anyone. We don't mind if an athlete that is not as good go to another sport, but we mind if our stud does because we want to hold on to him, make sure he stays healthy and doesn't do anything crazy. Um, we did share in the past, but I guess because we're starting to evolve into more competitive programs, we want to make sure we keep the ones that we need intact and on track and focused. So we don't share as much, but I know I have a good relationship with football, so it's a little different, two different seasons. Um, we may have a situation where we might work with basketball and volleyball at once in a blue moon, you know, on the women's side. Um, so it varies, but it's not a whole lot of sharing going on like it was in the past. Because in the past, of course, you had those kids that come out of high school play multiple sports, and our budget was so small. Hey, if you give him five, I give him five. If you give him three, I give him three. And we kind of, hey, it's different seasons. We could work around that, and to keep the kids active, keep them out of trouble. So now, with track, we're all year long. We train all year long. If it's not off season training or base working on background, we're in season. Once we get rolling in December, is no looking back. For track athletes, cross country never stops. So they start up and they take a little breather in between, but they right into indoor, right into outdoor. And before you know, the summer's gone. So the whole cycle starts over again. You know how it works.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's tough because we're trying to make sure we maintain the athletes that we have, and we don't share as much as we used to because our programs have elevated. So if you want to have a successful program, it's kind of hard to have a kid doing two different sports because you don't want to get him hurt. That's the whole purpose. Yeah.
Okay. So, as far as specialization, you yourself, do you prefer student athletes who come in who have participated in other sports, or do you prefer those who just specialize in track and field or cross country or distance or whatnot?
Um, it varies because sometimes those kids that come in that play different sports, they have something that no one else has, and meaning they have heart. There are a lot of talented kids, but they don't have no heart. They don't know how to. They don't know what it takes to really work. Most of the kids that play different sports are so tough and mentally prepared that they're the ones that you want around because that's the kind of kid you love and enjoy coaching. A kid that listens, that tries, that don't give up, that's upset when they don't do well. That's the kind of kid you want to deal with on a daily basis, other than someone that's a prima donna that knows it all. Well, I specialize in this and I specialize in that. And so, you have to, it's tough to have, it's good to have a kid that's well diverse.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Of course, you want the blue chippers that are specialized in certain things. But again, as soon as they feel something that's out of their domain, they crack. So, yeah.
Mm-hmm. So, as we prepare to kind of wrap up, what is your outlook as far as where you've been able to take the program? How realistic are especially Coach Williams is not in the mix anymore, so
Lord,
they kind of left it. Yeah, but it left a lot of things open for others.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. Finally, especially the CIAA, they are licking their chops.
So, how what's your outlook as far as possibility of winning a team national championship, whether it be cross country or track and field?
Whew. Well, I'm about 5 or 6 years away from that because I'm trying to put in place now. Because if you're only as strong as your recruiting class, and so if you know what kind of recruiting class you have, you know what you can do. The recruiting class I have coming in next year, I think will be the team to get me to be in the top five. Um, we had a group of kids in 16, 17, 18 that I thought I can get us there, but so many things happen. So you know how it works. You get those talented kids, but they have luggage. Everyone has luggage from where they come from. And so if you can't get them all to click at one time, you're fighting a losing battle. So I'm not going to shoot myself in the foot and say that we can never win one, but it's far fetched based on um, a few things we got to put in place. We got to get those studs because everybody else, especially those PWIs in our Division 2, they have all the resources, man. I hate to say it, but that really counts a lot. And I lose a lot of athletes because of that missing piece. Having a nice facility, having a nice weight room, having a nice, oh man, you got a big boy, you can go everywhere. You go to pin relays, you go everywhere. They're not looking at, is the coaching good? They're not looking at, are we going to get better? Am I going to graduate? That's the stuff they need to be looking at. And so that's what holds me back sometimes because I'm focused more on the graduating and making sure I'm molding these young men and women. Yeah, I want us to win, but I want to make you a better person. So that's my goal. So that's where that's my downfall. I'm focused on the person. And so sometimes it doesn't always fall in place where they end up being way better as athletes, But when they leave here, most of the times, 9 times out of 10, they're a better person. And I know they're gonna send me somebody else. So that's my recruit. That's my working mechanism. So yes, I do want to be in the top 10. I want to win a national championship. The talent coming in next year will put us in that predicament if we keep them healthy, keep them focused, and stay on the right path. We'll be in the mix. We'll be in the top 5, I think, as a team.
Well, I know, and you mentioned this earlier and just now about how your former athletes will, help in your recruiting. They'll send you people, they'll recommend you and other things, and so with me, especially on the middle and high school level, it was really funny because my last year as a head coach, I've had several athletes to talk to my team, and these were athletes. These were athletes that competed at a different school.
Wow!
And so, they one of my athletes, one of my favorites, she talked to my team, and she just kind of told them, a lot of us we didn't really like Coach Rice when we was running for him and because I was hard. I tried to get everything I could get out of my athletes. I tried to make them realize their potential.
There you go.
And would not let them slack off or anything else. And so, but she told them, she's like, when I grew up, I realized what he was trying to do for me, and I really appreciate that. And so, from talking to you, you've mastered that.
Well, I'm not mastering it, but because it's harder to get through to them now because of their mental state, the way they think. And I'm sure you've been there. You know what I mean. You've seen along the years that you coach how the athletes. We coaches always talking to, man, they different, boy. They different when we was in school. That's the first thing we say, which they are. I mean, they have more evolved. They have so much in front of them by the click of a finger that we cannot even compare to what they had to deal with. I'm glad we didn't have cell phones back in the day, and and call waiting. I'd have been in all kind of trouble. But what they have access to now, yes, they are too advanced. They're way advanced than we are. So we have to know how to adjust to them, and we have to learn how to make the adjustments and not cater to them, but still show them tough love, but how to make the adjustments of how to listen and not just talk at them, talk to them. And so once you start doing that, they could understand you a little better. And of course, again, just like you said, they didn't like me in the beginning. 2-3 years later, I'm like dad. Right now, I'm not, because I'm gonna push you to the limit. I'm gonna stay on you every day. I don't care if you sneeze and you turn your face left. I want you to turn it right. If I say turn it right, turn it right. I don't want to say it left. Turn it right. And you were just like that, just from what you told me. That's how it has to be. They need structure. They want the structure. They just don't want it at the time, but they want it and they need it.
Right.
Yeah, because I promise you, when they see that you're not organized, oh man, you're the worst person in the world.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Coach, this has been very delightful and insightful, and I'm really glad that you agreed to be interviewed by us and to share a lot of information with us.
Well, I thank you so much. I'm a very shy person. I don't like to really. I'm very laid back and I'm a loner. But and I have to explain to my athletes all the time. I was so quiet in high school, so quiet in college, and it took so much time for me to get to the point where I could talk in front of people. So this kind of stuff is still new to me. I've never really done podcasts and all this different stuff, but I'm taking a class now, a master's program. It's called sports media, and she's making us do interviews, and I'm like, oh my god, this is the hardest thing for me to do. Just posting something is new because I'm 52, but I'm still trying to figure things out. And but I really appreciate this. I really appreciate this, Mr. Rice, and thank you so much for looking out for the HBCUs and giving us a platform to express ourselves and speak about our programs and our weaknesses and our strengths. Thank you so much. This is definitely a blessing.
Well, you've been a blessing to us, and actually, we can't. If you're a shy person, I couldn't tell it. I mean, just from the jump, I couldn't tell it. So you've overcome a lot of shyness.
Oh yeah.
In your speaking, and I graduated out of a sports administration program too with my last master's. And so I know some of what you're going through, and I applaud you for that. I'm just a little bit older than you, but I got that a little later in life as well, but I'm appreciative of it.
You're right. Me too.
And so I'm pretty sure you're going to be able to use that tool to your advantage. And I mean, you already are, because you will learn so much out of that that sports media.
Yes, this class right here, man, and she is so sharp. This instructor, she does not. She's on another level.
Well, I might have to enroll in a class just to take a class then.
Yeah, man, she's really good. She's really good. Really good. So I'm really excited about her, man. She gives you a different mindset of social media.
Okay. Well, would you, before we end, would you like to give some people a shout out, whether athletes, coaches,
oh Lord,
just anybody?
I don't want to get in trouble by leaving anyone's name out, but I'm gonna tell you like this: the most important people to me right now, of course, the one above has blessed us with being around people that because I have a small circle of friends. Definitely my beautiful wife, my wife Wendy, my son CJ, my daughter Olivia. Always give me support that I need. Oh man, Dr. Artis, our president, she is on another level. Her mindset is totally different, and I appreciate her for even giving me the opportunity. My immediate supervisor, Coach Washington, he's the next level AD. And then all the coaches in our, not the coaching staff, I don't want to miss any names, so I'm not going to call their names, but all the coaches in our coaching staff who have always supported us. All my former athletes, again, I'm not calling any names, all my former athletes, thank you for putting me in a position that I am in now, because without you, there will be no me. And that's it, man. Thank you.
Well, I would like to give a shout out to your sports information director, Dennis
Correct,
Switzer.
Dennis Switzer. Yes.
He set this up. I think you were the first confirmation that I had.
Wow.
And so I really appreciate that from you and him. And like I said, without people like you, this wouldn't be possible. And it wouldn't even be worth it, really,
Right.
to try to promote our programs. But we do have people who care for the athletes, who deal with a different situation. Like you said, at HBCU, you don't necessarily have the same resources that you might have at a PWI, but you still make it work.
Got to.
And so being one who's made it work and who has made it work successfully, you are to be applauded for that. And I also, once again, congratulate you on your SIAC championship.
Thank you.
And we look to interview you, more in the future.
Oh yes, definitely. Looking forward to it. Thank you so much, Mr. Rice. Appreciate that.
All right. Well, thank you very much, Coach. And we will hopefully talk to you again soon.
Thank you, sir. Take care. God bless. Go Tigers.
God bless.
Yeah. Now I'm talking about young shakes. 502 represent. Just change. And this is for my city.
Hey, I do it for my city. I don't plan on going